And the St. Louis Blues are now alone in first overall in the National Hockey League.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get on your feet.
Watch me light the sky!
And he scores with an unbelievable one-handed tuck-in goal. And the Blues have tied the game on a highlight reel goal.
Watch me light the sky!
Shoots. Game winner. You can bring out the Zamboni.
All right, you ready?
Do it.
All right, loungers, we are back for another podcast. We have got another full house. Me, Sean, and the producer David, as always. Johnny's on assignment this evening, researching all those trades that the Blues are going to be making soon. Let's just get right into that first.
Funny thing is, we're actually going to have him live. We're going to have him live from the rink to give us the latest info.
Yeah, how many guys?
Straight from the horse's mouth.
Half our roster will probably be traded by the end of this evening, just the way all these rumors come out. For crying out loud, folks, don't believe 95% of the crap you read and 200% of the stuff you see on Twitter, because it's all
200%.
crap.
You know, everybody knows somebody who knows somebody. Everybody has their sources. It's all so dumb. Oh, God, people, come on.
I mean,
we're not
Ray Charles can see through this crap. I mean, come on.
So get Alan Keller.
It's not even. Okay, here are the big ones. All right, let's go ahead and run these down. All right, the first one is that Shattenkirk is on the trading block. Now I can accept the idea that Shattenkirk's on the trading block, that Armstrong is willing to move Shattenkirk. That doesn't mean that Armstrong is just going to dump Shattenkirk for whatever trade is offered to him. All right, the only way that Shattenkirk's going, because Shattenkirk is an elite player, and the only way that he leaves is if an elite player comes back.
Exactly.
I would agree. I agree.
And even TSN, one of TSN's sports guys, is saying it's more likely to see something happen with him at the conclusion of the season. And I agree with that statement.
If you honestly think Shattenkirk is going to be moved now with Gunnarsson and Bouwmeester injured long term, with week to week, I view that as long term, then you're crazy. Because
yeah.
Enough said.
Yeah, that would just be Armstrong he's a little bit too smart of a guy to trade away his defensive depth right when he needs it the most. When two of your top four are injured, you don't trade away number 3 in your top 4. That's the kind of poor asset management that Armstrong doesn't do. I don't agree with every move that Armstrong has made. I mean, most of us have something that he's done. A lot of people are still pissed off that he gave Berglund as much money as he did. A lot of people are still upset about the Miller trade, the way that whole thing was handled. You know, we all have some kind of pet issue with the way that Armstrong has done things, but he's not gonna trade away Kevin Shattenkirk right now for peanuts. Like, just get over it, people. Just calm down. Calm down.
It reminds me last year in the free agent frenzy. Everybody's like, Shattenkirk's going to get traded. Shattenkirk's traded. And then the Blues went to Shattenkirk and said, we never mentioned your name through all this. And it's same thing to my eyes. It's
funny finding some of the other team stuff out here. The Pittsburgh Penguins writers are saying the Blues could do something with Patrick Hornquist.
Wow.
What, Hornquist to Shattenkirk?
But they said they'd have to add. No, the Pens would have to add somebody else with him. But it's the same cap hit as Shattenkirk. Has an extra year of term. It's a bonus for St. Louis. But they're saying another good forward would go along with them. Would that work?
No.
Silly trade.
No, it wouldn't. Hornquist is a nice piece. It'd be great to see that guy, the big body who can take up space in front of the net and screen goalies and is not afraid to get dirty like that. I mean, that was what he did in Nashville, and that killed us whenever we would play Nashville. That was what he always did. That always gave the Blues fits. But Shattenkirk's an elite piece, and you don't trade away an elite piece unless you get an elite piece back. And
he's our power play guy. Quarterbacks.
The first thing that you do, we were before we pressed record here. We were talking earlier. The first thing you do after you trade away a piece like Shattenkirk is you try to find another Shattenkirk to replace him. Right? And why even bother? Just keep the guy you got. All right. And if you're worried that you're not going to be able to re-sign him, then talk to him now and say that you're going to try to work out a deal that he's going to be happy with down the road. Do your best to re-sign him. If you've got to shuffle salary around, if you've got to trade away some other players, whatever. But you do your best to keep Shattenkirk.
I agree.
And you especially don't trade him in January after you just lost 2 of your top 4 to injury.
Yeah, it's silly. Like you said, you got to shuffle some people around or shuffle the salaries around in order to keep him, because long term you want a guy like Shattenkirk on your team. Some members are going to be gone if this season does not go as planned for the Blues to at least get out of up to the second or third round, or even the finals is a long shot at this point. But it's still an expectation that the team has.
I'm not even.
Shattenkirk's.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Doc.
I say Shattenkirk's third on the team in points, third on the team in assists. He's putting up good numbers, and we need guys to do that. He's fifth for goals at 8. 25 points. His plus minus is a negative 12. However,
he's fifth on the goals with 8, and he's a defenseman.
Yep. He is at the bottom. He is at the bottom of the team in plus minus with a minus 12. However, but you've got basically over half our team are minus.
Wow. Only our 2 defensemen that are plus are, last time I checked, were Parayko and Gunnarsson. Bertuzzo's close to the line of even. Last time I checked.
Bortuzzo's a +1.
+1. There we go.
Shattenkirk is on pace for what, like 52 points, something like that on the season?
Yeah, he's halfway there now.
Yeah, and he's about halfway through the season, so.
The good news is I look at them, like, we're not giving up a lot of goals 5-on-5. These games that we are losing, that happened when that skid happened. And Shattenkirk was a big part of that. We got a lot of offense through the power play in that time. And he's a big reason, our power play has been as good as it has. Even when the time when he was injured, when he came back, he helped our power play flourish.
And my God, the last couple weeks, people have been wanting to go jump off bridges with the way this team has been playing. And you know what? Chill out. Jesus, people.
Yep.
It's not like we're sitting at the bottom of the stats and we're not going to make the playoffs. This team is hitting bumps in the road, but in all reality, we're not doing half bad.
Go
ahead.
I think the thing that's been most discouraging is not just that the Blues haven't been winning as many games as they should. It's the way in that they've been losing. All right,
I agree.
How many late leads have been blown to end up going to overtime and losing in overtime? Like how many? Wasn't it like 2 games in a row that they gave up a 3-1 lead, and another game where they gave up a 3-2 lead and ended up losing in overtime in like the last 5-game stretch or something before they finally won in a shootout in LA the other night to break that 5-game skid. It was just the way in which they lost was just so discouraging. It was brutal to look at. Just the team comes out and battles and gets a lead and then blows it several games in a row. That's just like that. That's crushing to watch over and over again.
I can't wait to see how this team's going to bounce back from effort against LA, because this was a game, that they were owned in almost every facet of the game, and they hung in there. It was like a heavyweight fight. They hung in there. They got good quality chances in how many shots they got, 12 or 15. But in the overtime, they were all over the Kings in overtime. It'll be interesting. You could call it a lucky win. I certainly would call it a lucky win. They hung in there, but they were very sound defensively. But it's going to be interesting to see how this team bounces back against the Devils on the 12th tomorrow night and this homestand that we have. This could be – you could look back at that game come April and say this was a big character turning point for this team. Hopefully we can say that.
Yeah, I hope we get to.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And I'm especially interested in seeing how the team is going to, respond moving forward, seeing as how the injury bug has really started to hit everybody. It's like we've got so many guys out now, and everything is kind of up and down. And I mean, several guys are week to week. Stasny is day to day, but like we got 5 guys injured. Allen is out, and we're all really unhappy with that because Allen has shown this year that he is that guy that we all thought he could be. I mean, that guy blossomed. He's actually.
But now now that also gives Elliott, who has hung with this team with how I kind of look at getting screwed over time and time again, not by Allen directly, but by Hitchcock deciding he just likes Allen better. And now it's the time for Elliott to stand on his head and prove that, you know what, as much as I've been dumped on, I'm going to play the best hockey I can. And I think he's got that mentality to do it. The biggest thing he needs is a support up front of him. We got to get done with the stupid mistakes that our defense especially seems to make. Some of that passing right out through the middle passing that we get burnt on. Watch where you're sending the puck, and maybe we'll have a little bit better shot. And if you can't make a 60-foot pass, make a decent 20-foot one and get it to somebody. And let's not get the puck stolen and we get scored on behind the defense.
To note on your passing comment that you made there, Doc, I'm also tired of seeing these soft passes on the power play. I want to see hard, crisp passes around as well, and even the rest outside the power play as well. But there's a bright side to look at all these injuries, we haven't had a full complete roster ever at all this season. Now, when we get that full complete roster, and if we do, I truly think that there's only one way we could go. If we should go up. With this hockey club, we have all the talent that on paper to go up. Now, if we go down with all these, if come playoff time, everybody's healthy, and we still regress, then yes, there should be something done in the offseason with this roster. But I don't think it should be like that because we haven't had the full, healthy, uninjured roster yet. And when that happens, I definitely think we should see this team trend upward. They should be trending upward. That is the expectation that I'm throwing out. Does anybody else agree with that?
I think if we do shitty in the playoffs, I expect a fire sale, honestly. You'll see a lot of veterans go.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that, and I think it's important to point out that this is not necessarily about number of games won in the playoffs or how far this team advances. It's about specifically like compete level. It's about how well these guys actually demonstrate their playing. I mean, like my thing with this team has always been like I am okay with them coming out and losing. I'm okay with seeing the team lose, provided I actually am satisfied with the effort they put in. If they do their best and they come out and they play a good game and the other team just plays a little bit better and gets the win, I'm okay with that. I don't like seeing it, but it doesn't kill me. But seeing them come out and just completely fall apart and not make good passes and just completely flub shots that they should make, to just throw games away, which is what we've seen several times in the playoffs in the past few years. They've thrown away games they should have won. If we see another year of that, if we see that happen in the postseason again, then yeah, we're fire sale. Absolutely.
You'll see everything from the coach down go, and you'll see a whole new team. We've got 7 games to go before the All-Star break. These 7 games are pretty damn important. and we need to. I mean, I want to see 2 points come out of most of these games. What do you guys think? Looking at the schedule, what do you guys think? Your guess is on how many points we'll actually end up with.
I think the expectation against Carolina Hurricanes is a win. That should be a win game. You should get 2 points. I think with Montreal, if we steal a point from Montreal, even though we are at home, I think that'll be big for us. Considering we hung in there 3-0 game earlier in the season, Carey Price stole the show, and Allen gave up one goal that he could have saved. The other two were deflections, but I mean they hung in that game still as well, even though they were getting in all of the other facets of the game they were being beaten on, but they hung in there. They gave up 2 bad bouncing goals, but against the Devils, I think they are expected to win that one as well. What do you think, David?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what to expect from this team anymore. I don't. I mean, I wish I could say
and,
that.
And you know what? And sorry, and say.
No,
Go ahead.
I just wish I could say I can reasonably expect the team to perform this way or that way against this team or that team, but I can't. I just don't know. I don't know what I'm going to get out of these guys.
You're right. I'm going to guess 7 to 8 points we'll end up with. I could be off and be way low, but how our track record has been, I'm guessing 7 to 8 points out of 14 possible.
Okay.
I think the optimistic number would be 10 to 11, and the super pessimistic number would be what? 3?
12. Or 3.
What? Pessimism is a little bit different there, Sean.
I know. Sarcasm. Jeez.
Oh, sarcasm. You're trying that again. Right.
Speaking of these trade rumors, can we still stick with the trade rumors, the crazy one from Winnipeg?
Oh my God.
Sean, you really like this one, so go ahead.
I really do like this one. According to my source, the one I found
the magic word, my source.
The one I found online a few minutes ago. Just by typing into Google, Blues crazy trade rumors. The Winnipeg Jets are willing to trade Andrew Ladd to the St. Louis Blues for David Backes. Captain.
Wow.
Captain.
What do you think, Doc? Would you do that?
Not a chance in hell. Plus the fact that Backes can rap well now by the videos that were released by the Blues today.
I would not do this trade at all whatsoever.
I mean,
God's
okay,
sake.
let's break this down. Okay, we all know about David Backes. We know the ins and outs of his games. We know what he's capable of. We know David Backes. What about Andrew Ladd? What do we know about Andrew Ladd? All right,
He plays for the Jets.
Plays for the Jets. Big guy, left wing. Played with
Won a cup.
Won a cup in Chicago in 2010. Was part of that big thing whenever. After they won the cup and they had the fire sale, the salary dumps. Yeah, they lost Bufflin and Ladd and a couple other guys as well. And Bufflin and Ladd both ended up in at the time it was Atlanta. And
yeah,
then
they all
moved
ended
to
up in
Winnipeg
Atlanta
a year or two later. Good player, like a really solid NHL player. He's pretty consistently been like a 50 point or better player throughout his entire career. Do I trade David Backes for Andrew Ladd? Yeah.
You ask some Blues fans, they would probably go for it. Because some people, I mean, I don't see that. People being so pissed off at him all the time.
Yeah. A lot of people have pinned the team underperforming on Backes' leadership. And they've, again, as I said earlier, there are certain things that people on the team do that I disagree with. I haven't agreed with every move that Armstrong's made. I haven't agreed with every coaching decision that Hitch has made. And I haven't agreed with every leadership decision that Backes has made as the team captain. I'm not always happy with the way he, composes himself, the way he behaves on the ice. But in general, I think I'm pretty satisfied with him as captain. I don't really want to see him leave the team. I think he's good in that position. I think the players like him in that position.
Sure. Lad's 6'3", 200 pounds. He's got 10 goals, who puts him 97th in the league, 14 assists, which puts him 119th.
And Winnipeg
24 points.
Fans of Winnipeg will really love
him. He's not...
Puts him about on a pace for like 50 points for the season, right? It's about what he is. But for the 50 point,
he's
56
-5.
He's a centerman as well, and usually gets more assists than goals, which is what a centerman typically is.
No, he's playing left wing for. Nope, he's playing left wing right now for Winnipeg.
Oh, well, just ignore all that I said, Loungers.
Sean, we're really good.
But even in his,
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Even his last 5 games, he's only had 2 points.
Yeah. I mean, Lad's not a dominant offensive player. He never has been, but he's been a solid, consistent player, for most of his career, and he's going to continue being that probably for a little while still. I mean, he's never going to be that 40-goal guy. I don't think he's ever hit 30 in his career, has he? I don't think he's ever hit 30. But he's come pretty close a couple times. He's been in the 20s, the mid 20s.
Steve Ott came close to 30. Look at Steve Ott.
Do what?
Steve Ott's come close to 30 goals in his career with Dallas Stars, but now look at Steve Ott.
Well, yeah.
Now he has
I'm a big Steve Ott lover too, but
yeah, he's just laying on the couch right now recovering.
Yeah. I don't know.
Backes is sitting at 24 points as well. He's got 11 goals, 13 assists, with a +1. And of course, in his last 5 games, he's got 2 points. He's got a goal and an assist. So, I mean, numbers-wise right now, they're almost identical, but I would stick with Backes before I would get Ladd.
I would as well, because, I mean, in addition, if we play the pure numbers game, then, yeah, their offensive production's a wash, but I think Backes is... What are you doing? Don't do that, Sean.
All right.
I think their offensive production's a wash, but
yeah,
I think all of the other things, the defensive end of the game, all that good stuff, you've got to give the edge to Backes. And I'd rather have him than that.
Sure, definitely.
Okay, I think we're spending too much time discussing this goofy trade proposal. This wasn't even a serious thing. This is just Sean being silly, and we're all trying to be I wanted to break it down. I wanted to give it some serious thought, and like, this is a thing worth talking about. But
no, it was good because
much time with it.
I'm not.
Everybody's an armchair GM right now.
Yeah.
I would love to trade Berglund and our 3rd-round pick and Carl Gunnarsson to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. #Lounge Logic.
Lounge Logic. Does Pittsburgh retain all of the salary there? Because that
doesn't matter. I'm an armchair mineral.
That's like $17 million of salary coming back to St. Louis, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Malkin and Crosby, and then like $17 million for the two of them.
Sounds about right.
Ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Anyway, so there's been a lot of discussion about the goofy trade proposals involving Shattenkirk, but there's also been a lot of talk about Robbie Fabry and potentially trading him for Jonathan Drouin. And the idea is that when there's smoke, there's fire, and usually whenever there's been smoke about Armstrong making moves in the past, that something has happened. And this is another one where there's a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
And the idea of trading Fabry and maybe something else in addition for Jonathan Drouin from the Lightning. I don't know. I really don't know. What do you guys think?
When I lived in Florida for 3 years, I got to see Jonathan Drouin play a few playoff games and a few regular season games as well. Jonathan Drouin is a bigger player than Fabry, and I think there is more, possibly more potential because he is a bigger player now. And when I say potential, I mean obviously more of a bigger body. He could be more of a power forward-ish instead of Robbie Fabry being more of a playmaking or finesse player. But having said that, Jonathan Drouin, with the potential that he has, for Robbie Fabry, I would not for straight up one player for another, I wouldn't take it now. Obviously, if the Blues sent a first or second pick the other way, I wouldn't take it. But if Tampa offered Druin for a second or first round pick for Robbie Fabry, I think I would pull the trigger on that personally. I can get as much hate on that for as possible, but I think I would take it straight up, player for player. I would not take that deal.
Now, here's my thinking on this, and you can call me completely ridiculous if you'd like, but I think I would do it. I do. I think I would trade Fabry for Druin in a heartbeat. And this is not a knock on Fabry. I love Robbie Fabry. I was thrilled. I was thrilled when I learned about the guy. I'm happy to see him. Like, I think he's going to be Martin St. Louis. I think he's going to be fantastic. I love the guy.
Yeah. I completely agree with you as well.
But I think in the long run, Druin is going to be a better player. I think that he's still young. I think that he's kind of not doing well in Tampa for a variety of reasons, but I think he's still a very good player with a really, really high ceiling. And I think he's one of those guys where if you get the opportunity to add him, I mean, he's young and he's unproven, but the fact is Fabry is still pretty young and unproven at this point in time too. And this could be trading, like I said, Martin St. Louis for Tyler Seguin or even like a Jonathan Toews type. Druin could develop into that. The thing that would make me cautious about it though is the big problem with Druin in Tampa Bay is defense. Like, he hasn't been satisfied with the way they've wanted him to play defense. He hasn't put in enough effort on defense. And if he can't do that in Tampa Bay, if they're not happy with the effort he puts in on the defensive side of the game in Tampa, how is he gonna do coming to St. Louis and playing under Hitchcock? Because Hitchcock demands an awful lot of defense. I mean, everybody has defensive responsibility. You know, everybody on the team has to be responsible on the defensive end of things. So is Druin going to be able to do that under Hitchcock if he couldn't get it done in Tampa Bay?
True, and Druin wants out in the worst way since they set him down. I mean, he's demanding to be out of there, but again, yeah, he's still gonna at least want to dictate a little bit where he goes. And you're right, is everybody talks about Hitchcock's style. Would he fit into that? And I don't know. It's hard to compare those two, but I think we stick with what we have, honestly. Fabry, he's really young and he can prove when he's here he can prove he can do well, but it's very early to tell with him yet.
I really agree, and if anybody thinks that you get a young guy for Druin, Tampa Bay's going to want a young guy back. They're not going to want a Patrick Berglund or an older guy. They're going to want a young guy back, and that's what I wanted to add earlier, and I completely forgot about it. But I could also see Fabry becoming a lot like Jaden Schwartz in the future, where he's a great two-way player and being very good, skilled-wise on both sides of the rink. Or like a Martin St. Louis, like you said, David. This is just a interesting place because there's a lot of potential for both players, and both are really unproven. I see Fabry as when he has good games, he has great games, and when he has bad games, he has bad games, and you notice a lot, and you don't really tend to look at it like that. It's like the roller coaster effect. You could say the same thing with Druin as well. I just don't know straight up. I don't know if I'd make that trade or not. Now, if Tampa includes a pick with that, I would take it in a heartbeat. That's just my personal thinking in the way that I've seen Druin play for the 2 years I lived in Florida near Tampa, and he's got a lot of upside. And he was one of the players when in the Stanley Cup Finals. He didn't play much in the playoffs, but he played one game in the Stanley Cup Finals, and he really impressed me. It was in Tampa as well.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's one of those things where if you can find a way to do it that doesn't hurt your roster, you got to pull the trigger. I think you got to do it.
I could agree with that.
It'd be hard to do it. Giving up Fabry would be hard. Giving up young players with a lot of upside is always hard. It's never an easy thing to do. No GM likes doing it because it has the potential to come back and bite you in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Is Boston, was Chiarelli happy whenever he gave up Seguin, sent him to Dallas, and then he turned into the guy that he is? That's the thing that could potentially be happening with Druin here, and that's what Yzerman could be giving up if he would trade Druin away. But that's also
and same
what
with
Blues could be giving up with Fabry.
Yep.
It's all a gamble. It's always a gamble. There's no way of saying for sure how these guys are going to develop.
It kind of reminds me of the Shanahan Pronger trade with Keenan, because you traded for a young unproven guy for a guy who's scored 50 goals. But Pronger comes on later and wins the Hart Trophy and becomes one of the best defensive players of his generation. It's tough. It's. Did you hear any of that, David? I saw you on the video here. But
No, I'm sorry. I had to talk to my wife for a second.
no, it's all good.
Apologies.
I said it's a lot like this Shanahan Pronger trade. You're trading a guy that was a 50-goal scorer to a team, a guy that was unproven, who was 20 years old. And Keenan hated him initially, but he comes on to become one of the best players of his generation, and both are in the Hall of Fame right now.
Yeah.
And then you have guys that everybody's, oh yeah, this guy's going to be one of the greatest guys ever. He's going to bring in all these points the whole bit, and doesn't do crap and totally collapses within a year or two, and you never hear from him again. And in some cases, you get that. Even in the case of Connor McDavid, did you really expect to see him injured as early in the season as he was?
I don't think anybody did.
Not in the way that he was. Not in the you're going to miss, you're going to be out 3 to 4 months right off the bat type way. No one expected that.
No.
And the injuries are always one of the things that just you never see them coming until it's too late. But it's just some of the expectations the players live up to, and others can't take that pressure and collapse.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of risk on both sides. But I think with the way our injuries are now, I'm thinking some of these moves are unless we can pull off just one hell of a trade, are less likely.
Yeah.
Because guys are week to week, but okay, how many weeks is that really going to be?
Right.
I'd say a month or two. A week or a month or two. If it's week to week, he's out at least a month, I think.
Oh, or he might be back next week.
He could be in the back next week.
We don't know.
And I also think it's interesting that they're not confirming what got injured. They just said lower body injury.
Well, they never do that.
Dude, that's how they do it in all sports now.
Upper body, lower body, whatever.
You look at when Schwartz got injured, everybody knew it was his ankle. He's out 12 weeks with the ankle injury, and that could have been fall to the lower body injury. I think it's interesting the way they worded it this time. Yes, it's crazy, the lower body injury, the ankle, but you're not specifically saying, it's his knee, but you're not specifically, I guess they don't want to cause panic or mass hysteria, but apparently that's already taking place.
That's kind of, no, that's what, every team in the league does that for pretty much every injury. They almost never confirm what exactly it is. People are out with a concussion, it's upper body. Somebody has a heart attack, it's upper body.
Yeah.
Somebody gets kicked in the balls, it's a lower body injury.
That's nuts.
Oh, thanks, Doc.
Oh,
we appreciate it.
Can't believe you get the balls to say that on the air.
That's all right. And you're right. It's a protection thing, and it's gotten bigger in the last probably 8-10 years that they've really protected what those injuries are and gotten very vague with it. The other sports, football especially, has been one of the ones that has protected that the most of really what the injuries are. And in a few cases, if it's obvious, broken leg, broken ankle, whatever, they let it out there. But yeah, I mean, overall, if it's questionable, they're not going to put that out there because then it's easier to predict timetable when they can return.
It's also like funny as well as when teams are like one player misses a game, just one game out of the blue. He's dealing with issues that are non-hockey related.
Right. Well, I mean, like this is a job, and sometimes we as people, sometimes we have to miss work for whatever reason. That kind of thing comes up.
Or
the thing that's always kind of bugged me about the upper lower body injury thing is there are some people who think that this is specifically about protecting players and not disclosing what injuries are, specifically because they believe that those players will then be targeted in those spots. Like if somebody's out for back spasms, does that mean that this player is going to be targeted and get slightly more stiffer cross checks in the back from a defenseman if they're in front of the net? Or if somebody has like a wrist problem, does that mean they're going to get more slashes to that wrist moving forward or something like that? Because I'd be really curious to see whether or not that kind of thing has actually happened anywhere. Like I can't off the top of my head, I can't think of any situation where a player that had a long-term injury, that injury was publicly disclosed so we all knew what the injury was, then had that specific thing targeted. Can either of you guys think of anything off the top of your head where that happened?
I can't think of one. No, I can't think of one.
Nothing comes to mind.
But
I could see
Donald Brashear, Marty McSorley.
Yeah, but that was a hockey stick to the side of the head.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see some dirty players trying to run some guys a little bit more that have just come back that are not 100%. But that's few and far between, I think, in all reality.
Yeah, it's just not a common thing, I don't think. I don't know.
And a side note with the injury, we had a lot of the fans flip out over a couple days ago when Allen wasn't showing up on the roster. He was long-term injured. They took him off. He's not. Everybody thought he was getting traded. I'm like, you've got to be out of your mind.
I commented on that and I said, actually, folks, breaking news: Brodeur is coming out of retirement again. And the comment itself had more likes than the post. So I had like 40 likes on the comment, and also commented, "Yep, Elliott, we're trading Elliott's despite the blue pads, and Allen's going to play injured, and Jordan Binnington is called up because he is our only hope."
Well done, Sean.
Thank you.
I approve of the trolling of Blues fans. Well,
and you know what? Even us, yeah.
I feel bad because I've been a big troll lately. But
it's needed because people get so bent out of shape and they think beyond what's actually going on, and they flip out without actually sitting back, doing any research, and it drives me nuts. It's like, people, take a breath a minute and watch what's going on. I mean, it's gonna make, you'll see stuff happening. It's not going to take long to get out there to really show what is being done. But I'm sorry, Allen was never leaving. He's going to be around a long time because he's our go-to goalie.
Agreed. And the real question isn't with all these trade rumors going on. The real question really is, will Brian Elliott keep the blue pads the whole year?
If not, I would like them.
I also posted that in the lounge today.
I think he should.
I think he should too.
I think they look great.
They do look great. They look like a lot of goalies in the league don't use those. Like they're mostly white pads as well, but except for Corey Crawford. Corey Crawford's the only other goalie I know in the league that has a consistently where the main color of the pad isn't white. And now there's Elliott along with that. Is there another goal you think on the top of your head that main color on the pad is not white?
Yeah, Scott Darling. His are dark.
Yeah.
And there's a few other ones, but yeah. And then I got into a big debate I won't even get into about, do pad colors make a difference in the game? And oh my God, you thought I was I had 3 heads or something.
I don't know.
But there's folks. They're gonna put the freeze in, and I don't know what the actual freeze dates are during the All-Star game. freeze and stuff. But otherwise, you're going to see some stuff happen. But I don't think we'll see a lot till right before the trade deadline, unless the Blues just fall apart and we slip down below playoffs, which I'm sorry isn't going to happen. So I don't expect anything unless one of the other teams is falling apart early. I don't see a move. I don't expect a move till the trade deadline within a day or two of it.
We've seen it many times over the past few years. Just win and get in, and anything can happen come playoff times. The LA Kings won it as an 8th seed back in 2012. And anything can really happen. There's been a lot of upsets. LA Kings even 2 seasons ago when they won the cup, they were down. They're down 3-0 in the series against the San Jose Sharks and came back and won 4-0. 4 games in a row and won the series 4-3. Anything can happen come playoff time, and just get in. I don't care what our seeding is. Of course, we all expect as fans that our team's got to be number 1. Just get in. Anything can happen.
And at this point, if something happens before then, we'll cover it. We'll be on it. But honestly, everybody, take a step back, take a deep breath, enjoy these games coming up, and we'll catch a nice break at the All-Star time. Everybody was hoping with one of the other goalies that got hurt that was supposed to be in the All-Star game, Allen would be called up. Well, now that's guaranteed not to happen. So just let our players get rest because they need it, and let's come back post All-Star game and put a crap ton of points on the board.
Let the games begin.
Are you guys going to watch the All-Star game?
You know what?
Go ahead, go ahead, David.
Wow.
Sean, you're fine. Go right ahead.
Okay. I think it's going to be interesting. Because you could see 3-on-3 format. The skills competition is going to be the cream of the crop, as it always is. But it's going to be interesting to see a 3-on-3 tournament in the 3 periods of hockey. You're going to have guys that are potentially have 3 forwards out at one time. You got Taves, Kane, Tarasenko, Jamie Benn, Sagan, Tarasenko. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
It's going to be a goalie shooting gallery is what it's going to be.
Goalies are going to hate it.
Yeah, they're going to get lit up.
It's
going to be great.
You know what? I kind of want to see a goalie just jump into the play on like a rush just for the heck of it in an All-Star game. That would be...
I'd love to see that.
Can we just ignore the goalies not being allowed to cross the red line for just this one game? For this All-Star game?
Give the goalies a break. We'll just put shooter tutors in the nets instead.
Oh, that would be awesome. Just don't even give the goalies a goalie stick. Just give them a player stick.
There are a lot of players.
So way some of those players shoot.
A lot of players that won't be able to score goals with those guys in the net.
Yeah.
A lot of guys in the NHL who can't actually shoot. They just kind of stand there and get those dirty garbage goals.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
And
also,
they don't.
I have not been told of the rules for the NHL game, but once there is a goal scored, is it a continue running clock and the other team just breaks out from their own zone, or is there going to be a drop of the puck at the center ice?
I would assume they drop the puck, but that's an
interesting thing.
This format's so convoluted, and then the NHL's pissed, and of course they're getting ready to change the rules again because of the way the voting went down.
I think the voting is silly.
Well, and the NHL proved it with and I'm blanking out of his name all of a sudden.
John Scott.
Thank you. Who's been put on waivers 3 times this year? Is an all-star.
Good old John Scott.
So the NHL's pissed that the fans got behind him and did that. It's like, you know what? I'm sorry. Find a different way. But the NHL has a media problem. They do too much with the damn All-Star game, and with having 87 different outdoor games, we need to back that off. I'm sorry, no more than like 2.
87
Because if you look,
games, Sidney Crosby, Illuminati.
if you look at the ratings for New Year's Days, it was terrible. I mean, the game wasn't good either. It was lopsided as hell, but it was no interest. I enjoyed reading Facebook for all the bitching about the bans that the NHL had, because that was the only thing that anything going on in the game, that was the only thing to even flip and talk about.
Hasn't every Winter Classic, every year the Winter Classic's ratings gets worse and worse and worse?
It's the novelty with all these OT games.
Continually decreased.
And
it's because there's so many different games now. When it was just that by itself, if they'd have continued on that, I don't think we'd have seen the drop off. But when you have all these different games now, yeah, the novelty's gone.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with that. The novelty is really, it's gone. Pretty soon, you're going to see an outdoor game on the sands of Florida between the Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning, and
I mean, didn't they already do that in Southern California? Didn't they already have a hockey game in LA when it was 70 degrees out?
This one's going to be on the beach on Fort Lauderdale, Florida, or Miami, or Tampa Bay.
Where the arena they played in LA, they had a sand volleyball court installed next to the rink where there were people playing in swimsuits. Because that nothing screams ice hockey to me like ladies in bikinis playing volleyball. Anyway.
Yeah.
I shouldn't.
The first half of that sentence was perfect. I'll take the ladies in bikinis. We'll just put them on ice.
Isn't that what never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
But I think this is going to be an interesting week, because the you're going to see, up to the runoff to the All-Star game, you're going to see tons of rumors. You may see some teams move some stuff, but nothing. I don't think anything big is going to come down, honestly, until after the All-Star break. I could be way wrong, but I see teams, especially with letting guys rest and some of the injuries and stuff out there, I think a lot of teams are kind of backing off for now, just to wait to see where things go.
I agree. I really do. I was looking at StubHub ticket sales for both the All-Star game and the skills competition. It's very interesting what I found it's 5 hours down trip to Nashville for the All-Star game. But I found an All-Star game on StubHub, one ticket for the All-Star game up in the mezzanines for $400. And the skills competition was $600.
That's double what the face value is.
Really?
Because I was looking at them. I think it was, the starting price was like $215 or something.
Okay, I didn't get to go to a Stanley Cup final game last year when I lived in Tampa, but I was offered a Stanley Cup final ticket for $200.
You should have taken that.
I should have, but I didn't have the money. But up in Chicago, one game was $1,000. And standing room only ticket was $65,000. I remember seeing that as well.
Yeah, here's the here's the club level and lower bowl at Nashville for it's the weekend. It's the All-Star Skills competition on Saturday and the game on Sunday. $321 for lower bowl and $321 for club level, and upper level's $221. And that's right from the Predators webpage.
Wow.
And honestly, I just don't see the pricing.
That's insane.
So to answer my original question, are you guys going to watch the All-Star game?
Maybe. I'll watch the
honestly,
competition.
Yes.
Yeah,
I will watch that, because that's when you see the players have fun. I mean, all the stupid crap that they pulled last year, everything from Elliott doing the selfie with Tarasenko and the one guy skating his kid down to shoot the puck and all those kind of stuff. That's the stuff I like, because it shows that the guys can have fun. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, the game, it's a shooting gallery on the goalies, and so what?
Yeah, it was... the game is going to be... It's better. I think it's better than the 5-on-5, just throw the puck around game. But no, it's a 3-on-3 mad scramble. I could see it potentially becoming. And it may be more fun for the goalies that way instead of... But then again, it may not be. It may be... Let's go Blues. Either way.
You know, I'm going to throw this out. I actually think this is probably going to be the most boring All-Star game ever. Because with the 3-on-3 format, I mean, part of the appeal of this is that it opens up the ice for fast players, for speed players, so that speed and skill kind of takes over. And they're not going to put in the effort. It's the All-Star game. No one cares. You know, it's like we're not going to see fast hockey. We're going to see extremely slow-paced hockey where people have a lot of space to dick around and okay, they're going to have some space to do some puck tricks and maybe, you know, dangle a little bit and show how much they can do all these goofy little between the legs, backhand.
Like second puck I went to earlier this evening.
Right. You know, so like sure, we'll see some people doing some nifty dangles and whatnot, but like I don't think it's going to be fun to watch. I think that the 3-on-3 hockey is exciting for fans when we see it in overtime because they're playing all out and there's a lot of space and it's fast. And this is not going to be fast. They're not going to put in this kind of effort for the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I don't see it as being an exciting game to watch.
It'll be exciting when the goalie jumps to play on the rush for the 4-on-3.
If we can see a goalie actually do that, I would love to see that.
I would love to see that too. Just ignore that rule. This one time where they can't cross the red line in the game. Just ignore that rule.
Just once.
Just this one game.
Do it a no rules hockey game. You can do whatever. Guys just get out there with 2 sticks, or the goalie can tackle guys coming in.
The instigator rule is not allowed anymore.
Make it be the WWE of hockey for the weekend.
With good old JR broadcasting it instead of Doc Emmerich.
Oh God. But it'll be fun. Now let's see if we can get through these games and get a win tomorrow night and start getting on a points roll. But there's a lot of stuff to watch. But just please, reminder to everybody listening: don't freak out with trade rumors. 105% are BS, and 0.1% will probably come true.
Now I noticed on the chat right here on this we have videos here that you were checking your phone, Doc. Did you see any trade rumors while you were checking your phone?
Nope, not at all. Other than the Oilers forward Matt Hendricks got suspended for 3 games for boarding the Aaron Ekblad of the Panthers. That's the newest NHL news.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But other than that, no. It's the same old crap. Everybody goes to Eklund, and I'm sorry, everybody thinks he's one of the God rumor people, and they don't come true that often.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a jerk. I don't know.
You're a jerk.
No, I think you're right about Eklund. I think most of us are well aware that Eklund is generally incorrect. It just kind of feeds into the speculation.
Sure, and people flip crap, and it's getting beyond ridiculous. So please, everybody, take a breath, have a beer, enjoy the hockey that's on, and if something comes up, then we'll all discuss it. Or if it's getting to be where some of the major sports writers are saying, yeah, this is looking like this is going to happen, then we'll get there. But crap, so many people are wanting to jump off bridges in the arch when nothing's happening at all. But with that, another fantastic podcast, gentlemen. We will convene next week after a bunch of games, and hopefully we'll get all the points that we needed to get.
Yeah, we'll see. We can hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. It's gonna be a wild ride. That's for sure.
That it will. So for me, Jason, Doc Noyes, Sean Ditch, and producer David, everybody have a fantastic time. Enjoy the Blues games, and let's go Blues.
And here we go.
Oh, Sean, stop that.
Watch me light the sky. Watch me light the sky.
Unbelievable play. Holy jumping. Throw